and welcome to Hey Adora, your queer She-Ra podcast. I am Force Captain F, they, them.
And I'm Princess Jenny, she, her.
And today we are discussing Protocol. But before we get into Protocol and our Powerhouse Polycule's adventures in Acid Rain, Jenny has some really exciting stuff to talk about.
Yes. Well, I just wanted to read this great email we got from listener LK because we have talked at length multiple times about Bo's lack of flaws, and we have speculated on why Bo has no flaws and why he's so perfect, and, you know, whether or not that's a service or a disservice to his character. But we got this great email from LK who sees Bo's flaws and wants to talk about them. So I have permission.
Love it.
I have permission from LK to share their words with you.
Love this.
So LK writes, I wanted to write in because I've caught up far enough in the pod now that I've heard in a couple of different episodes you and your guests talking about how Bo has no flaws. To me, Bo is very much a flawed character. Right from the start, he's always trying to draw people out and connect with other people while not giving very much of himself. He keeps who he is close to the vest, so to speak, and does so to the point that his best friends didn't know who his family was or that he had brothers or anything. By the show's end, they still haven't met any of his brothers and have no idea what those familiar relationships are like or how they have impacted Bo. Bo is hampered by being a people pleaser. He's trying so hard to please Adora when they capture her, and later catch her as well, that he tells them all kinds of information that they shouldn't know, and opens himself and Glimmer up to having vulnerabilities they wouldn't otherwise have. He's so determined to please everyone and to have everyone like him and be his friend that he puts himself and others in compromising situations. Bo constantly tries to heal and help everyone else, trying to be everyone's therapist, while not letting others take care of him or know what his wounds or needs are. When he's kidnapped on the pirate ship with Seahawk and Swiftwind, and he realizes that his friends haven't even noticed that he's gone, it catches up to him. He realizes how one-sided all of his relationships have been, and how he does all the work in the relationships. This realization drops him into a very hard despair. It's like he's realizing that in his process of trying to take care of the world, that no one is tuned into his needs. No one thinks about taking care of him. I personally relate a lot to this. And I do too. I guess I related to it so much that I almost didn't see it, you know?
Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
That's so insightful.
Yeah, Bo's flaws are tucked in tight, like the shirt that he rips away so his abs can breathe. But inside, inside he is still tucked in tight. So they go on in great depth. This is a very long email, and it's all extremely insightful, but I'm not going to read the whole thing in interest of brevity. But I think that even just that beginning part really gets the point across that Bo is not perfect. Bo does have flaws.
No.
You know, his flaws is that he's so over-focused on other people that he doesn't, you know, let himself be a full person. And he doesn't let anyone else see his needs. Mm-hmm. You know, he doesn't let anyone else help him the way he helps other people. All his relationships are very one-sided. Mm-hmm. And I relate to that a lot. So I'm going to skip right to the end because it comes back to a lot of people see Bo as trans. I think that is probably the dominant way people see him. And so LK says at the bottom, I also relate to Bo as a trans person. To me, he's definitely trans, who tried really hard to please everyone in my life at my own expense. I'm still trying to learn how to simply be who I am instead of contorting myself to remain acceptable. Trying to untuck that shirt, so to speak.
Oh.
I think that's a really good note to end on.
Thank you.
So
that is excellent.
Thank you, LK.
Thank you, LK. That is awesome.
Yeah, and I think I could, if our patrons are interested, I could post the full text of this very insightful mini essay in our Discord if our patrons are interested in that. It could be perk of patronhood.
Yeah, perk of patronhood. That's fantastic. Yeah. Thank you, LK.
Yeah, so you can chew on
thank
that
you, Jenny,
as we dive into this episode.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Jenny.
Yes,
also,
no problem.
So, are we ready to get into Protocol?
I think we are.
Protocol is season 4, episode 5. It was written by Catherine Nolfi, directed by Mandy Clotworthy, with storyboards by Charlemagne Coe, Olivier Malrick, and Belinda Smith.
All right.
Jenny.
Those are some new names.
Those are some new names. Jenny, it is, but really, this one is all about our Powerhouse Polycule and a rebooting Light Hope.
We love to see our Powerhouse Polycule buddies.
We love
This
them.
is a very different kind of episode.
It really is. And I really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, same. And after this episode is just a string of delightful episodes.
Yeah. And they're like, we get a lot of episodes of developing characters that we don't really get to like grasp, really bite into as much throughout the first 3.5 seasons. And we really kind of get to see all of these other characters that we understand as side characters and how they are impacted by our protagonists moving through the world.
Indeed.
And it's so cool.
Indeed. It's wonderful.
It's wonderful.
And we also get some insight into Etherian climate change, maybe? I don't know how to describe this crazy ass weather.
I don't know how to describe this crazy. Like, is this a normal thing?
Yeah, we really don't know. Because none of them act like they can recognize this. It's like, yes, the annual acid snow.
Right? Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, because even though we did lose time in recording because of COVID, which happens, we were preparing to record at the same time that the crazy Canadian wildfires were happening, so that when I looked up on my weather app being like, what's the weather today? My weather app told me the weather today is smoke. And I had never had that happen before. For a few days, we all had to check airnow.gov every day to see if it was safe to open the windows or go outside or breathe the air in any way. This is some real apocalypse weather, so it really lined up in a weird way. It's like, is it safe to go outdoors at all?
Yeah, I had my first kind of experience with that last year when I moved out to the west coast of the United States, which it happens here a lot. And so I was calling all of my friends who were living on the east coast of the United States being like, okay, look, this happened to me last year. I know it seems like the apocalypse, but here's what you have to do. I mean, Jenny can like attest to this. I'm sitting here being like, here's what you do. You do this and this and this and this and this. Don't go outside. Here's where you get air filters, blah, 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 blah. And my friends are like, why are you doing this? I'm like, because it will fuck up your lungs and it hurts and it sucks.
Yeah, luckily I did not suffer any ill effects. And I already had all the N95 masks I need because I'm still treating COVID as a top shelf priority. But it's scary to have apocalypse weather suddenly on your doorstep. You're just driving your transport through the woods, man, like it's a normal day.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, acid snow.
Acid snow. Well, I mean, you're driving your transport through the Whispering Woods. With your boyfriends, thinking nothing of it. Well, maybe your tiny twink boyfriend in the back should probably have been secured in some way.
Yeah.
Maybe not just bouncing around.
Maybe not standing
in the back with the cargo.
Yeah. Is there no third seat in this giant transport truck?
Shouldn't have the cargo been tied down? There is a lot of questions here. Have they done this before?
It just seems like Kyle is always up for anything, regardless of the fact that he's the butt of every joke. He's not worried about what's going to happen without a seat or a seatbelt. He's just booping around back there.
Right. And was he in charge of being like, it's fine. Who hasn't loaded a U-Haul and not tied anything down and had it been half full? Right. He's obviously not a lesbian.
No, he's classic happy-go-lucky twink.
Classic happy-go-lucky twink has never had to strap things in a half-empty U-Haul.
No, but they're, you know what? They're out on a field trip. They're having a great time. They're not in the fright zone. They're happy.
not having to
They're
deal
happy about not being in the fright zone.
Yeah, because Katra has been a nightmare.
Yeah, but Lonnie does seem pretty stressed out in the driver's seat.
Right.
She probably has not driven in this type of inclement weather before, clearly.
Sure.
She's not psyched about having to drive through the Whispering Woods in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't look like a great place to drive.
There's no road. And also, Kyle does seem to be distracting her. She's yelling at him. Will you stop messing around back there, Kyle?
Well, I mean, like, when, like, your load is unsecured and, like, you're driving, of course you're going to be distracted by shit clunking around in the back.
Kyle.
Classic Kyle.
Powerhouse Polycule shenanigans.
And
so as we zoom out on all of their shenanigans, we see that there's a big storm of what seems to be acid snow. And we see that it's not just above them in the woods, it's going all the way over to the Crystal Castle.
The Crystal Castle.
So we have one exterior shot of the Crystal Castle, and then inside the Crystal Castle looks like the fright zone.
It does, but is it it's like the danger. They're in the danger room.
Yeah,
it's
they
danger
have their
room
own
time.
Danger room, and it's highly advanced.
Yeah, I mean, we learn later that Lighthope can just conjure, like, tangible objects out of thin air.
Yeah, I mean, it's the holodeck, basically.
It's the holodeck. It's the danger room. Yeah. And Adora this is my first gayest moment.
Yes, it's fantastic.
Which is Adora just yawning and smashing robots, just being like cocky daddy Adora, being like, oh, this is so boring. Whatever, smash.
Yes, she does a flying backflip so perfectly, and she's so cocky about it that she yawns in midair. And I also have that as my first gayest moment.
Wonderful.
And I also write, we dig it.
Yeah, definitely digging it. Yeah, absolutely.
She lands on top of a bot laughing. She's having fun.
She's having fun.
And continues her rampage of destruction, saying, hey, this is kind of fun. As she rides atop the bot while destroying it. I mean, you gotta have fun where you can.
Yeah, exactly.
In this type of world.
Right. Yeah. And if you're built for it, right? If you're not having fun, then what's the point?
And also, like, this is a grim life that they're living. So you gotta take your joy where you can.
Exactly.
But then Lighthope boops in, and the way she boops in is great because she's just hovering in midair over the edge of what I have deemed the platform of sadness.
Oh, I like that.
Which is where Katra goes in the fright zone when she wants to be sad and sulky and alone, or where they used to go together before Adora left, where they wanted to be alone together.
Oh.
With that big orange moon behind it.
Yeah. Oh.
So I have dubbed that the platform of sadness. So Lighthope is just hovering in midair over the edge of it to tell Adora that she is not taking her training seriously.
And Adora's all, like, snarky about it.
Yeah. Dripping with sarcasm.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Me? That doesn't sound like me.
Right.
And actually, it really doesn't, because normally she's very earnest and takes all the things very seriously. This is like one of the first times we've seen her really cut loose and have fun with her training.
Yeah, that's true.
So Lighthope, chill the fuck out, man.
Yeah, seriously. Like, she's actually enjoying this, which is, she's doing
what she needs to do.
She's doing what she needs to do. I mean, in doing this, she is kind of taking it seriously in that she is actually showing up and doing the work. But Lighthope still doesn't, like, see that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Lighthope wants her to...
Because she's a robot.
Lighthope is a robot. Lighthope wants her to do it and be serious while she's doing it. Maybe you just need to make it harder, Lighthope. And Adora points this out, that she's not learning anything new anyway.
Right, exactly.
And so Lighthope, we have a funny deadpan, maybe it's what's that phrase that you use for comedy that has to do with non-human things, the valley of... What's the valley?
The Uncanny Valley.
Maybe it's an Uncanny Valley type of humor, or maybe it's not. Lighthope's deadpanness right here, where she says, well, maybe I need to make it more challenging. There is a bot behind you. And like before she even finishes saying that, Adora chucks a sword behind her without even looking, destroys the bot. Like, yeah, what else you got?
See, I totally took this entire scene, and Jenny, you probably agree with me, reminded me exactly of the scene in the Buffy episode Band Candy.
I literally have that as my next bullet, and I'm mad that you said it before me. But go on.
Yeah, I mean, I figured you did. So there's a scene in the episode Band Candy, which, by the way, is one of my favorite Buffy episodes of all time.
It is.
Where Buffy is training with Giles.
I was literally about to bring this up.
And she's also, because this is a very similar scene. She's like, really, or do you have to do this? Like, I'm already good at this, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, like, I already know what I'm doing. This is boring. And so Giles, you know, blindfolds her and gives her a rubber ball and is like, well, you have to hit me, like, essentially.
This is, I'm
right?
testing your skills of fighting an opponent in total darkness. Let's see how you do now.
Right. So she's like, okay, fine. So she throws the rubber ball. He stands behind her. And she throws, it's a kickball.
5 to make sure, and then he quietly steps away so she won't know where he is in total darkness.
Right. So it's a kickball. So she throws the kickball in the, like in front of her.
And in the wrong direction.
Right. And he's very snarky about it. And he's like, it's not so easy. It's bounce. And it bounces. Like, she bounces it off the wall.
It bounces
hits him in the head.
off of 3 different walls before it hits him. And he's like, oh, you see, you couldn't do it. Bounce. And then it hits him in the head.
Yeah. And it's framed in a very, like...
He's being very serious and she's being very glib, basically.
There's no way this scene isn't taken almost directly from that.
The
like,
fact
the
that we
scene
both
itself
thought
is
of it
so
independently
similar.
Definitely means that the writers were thinking about it, too.
Yeah, it's so similar.
Yes.
Like, everything from Adora's, like, attitude and Lighthope's attitude to exactly kind of what happens, even the, like, it's right behind you type of thing.
Yes. So. Obviously, we both got there, so we can't have been the only ones who were thinking it.
Right. Also, I mean, we're always going to get there if it's about Buffy.
Well, the fact that we both got to the same reference so easily, and we know that the writers of She-Ra are all Buffy fans and have, you know, been watching specifically Buffy Faith scenes means like, okay, we know they're Buffy fans. So, you know, it's not a huge leap.
I don't think it's a huge leap either.
Yes. So this was a fun scene to start with. Adora blows up the bot. The whole holographic fright zone disappears. And Adora is now looking very sullen. She crosses her arms. She's like, am I done now? Cheeky.
Right, yeah. Right? But also, like, I get it.
Of course, I get it, too. She's like, I'm at the point now where this is below my level. This is a waste of my time and my skill set.
Right.
And Light Hope, again, very deadpan. I sense resistance.
Good job, Light Hope.
Yes.
Good job.
And Adora detransforms. She's been She-Ra up till now. She detransforms back into herself, and she says this is useless. She doesn't need more training. She needs answers, man. And we get a little exposition dump. We're fighting a war. The Horde has been one step ahead at every turn. Glimmer thinks they're tracking She-Ra somehow. Is it because my sword is first one's tech, or because I'm a first one? And what does that even mean? Who were they? Who am I? We found Mara's ship. She left a recording behind. And Light Hope just cuts her off because obviously Light Hope is not into this whole line of questioning. She says... Yeah,
and definitely isn't into anything about Mara.
Right. So she brings up Mara, and Light Hope's like, whoa, no, bitch.
Nope.
She shuts it down. Adora.
Nope.
Mara was compromised. She became unhinged.
Yep. And Adora is like, starts to question, you know, the official byline. Like,
at this point. Yeah.
The party line. Yeah. Like this, she didn't seem unhinged. She seemed scared. And she was talking about a weapon.
Yeah, because she has now actually seen the hologram of Mara talking. She has seen a video, for all intents and purposes, of Mara's last moments.
Right.
So she doesn't just have to take Light Hope's word for it anymore.
Right. Do we know if this is the first time? I mean, this is the first time we've seen that Adora is talking to Light Hope about there being some sort of weapon. So I think we can assume that this is Adora asking about what this weapon Mara is talking about Light Hope.
Yeah, I think so. She's not just going to let it go so easily. She said, like you said, she didn't seem unhinged. She seems scared.
Right.
And she was talking about a weapon. If there is some weapon that can protect us from the Horde, I need to know about it.
Right.
And Light Hope keeps trying to deflect. She says, once you balance the planet, all will become clear. It is your purpose as she, and she starts glitching out.
Yeah.
And Adora's response to this is, again, hilarious.
I know.
Oh, wow. Really? Way to avoid the subject. Like she's glitching on purpose to get out of the argument.
Right. I love that.
And my next bullet is
funny.
all caps. Lol, cranky lesbian and glitchy hologram, a tale as old as time.
I know. Yeah. I'm surprised she didn't try to hit something.
You know, it's just classic.
To try to get it to work.
Yeah. And also my last bullet for this scene, and I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but, you know, we'll come back to this at the end. It is so insidious for Light Hope to use She-Ra's role as the balancer of the planet as the key to your fucking colonizer weapon. Because balancing the planet sounds good. There's no way to spin that in a way that makes it sound sinister.
Right.
So they just, you know, the first ones inserted themselves into that to be like, oh, we'll just make that the key to our colonizer weapon to overtake the planet and destroy it.
Right, right.
Why would anyone question that balancing the planet is a good thing?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fucked.
So, you know.
Cool.
So that's fun. So we leave them glitchy and cranky. We leave them. And we go back to the Whispering Woods with our bestest buddies, the Powerhouse Polycule.
Oh, I love them.
We love them so much.
And Lonnie is grouchy because why wouldn't you be?
Still coming down quite heavily.
Yeah, and we get a tiny bit of exposition about why the hell they're in the Whispering Woods.
Yes. Lonnie's,
which is, you know, Lonnie's, Catra better appreciate that we're going behind enemy lines. Ooh, to get this armor plating stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So, that's why they're there in the transport.
Yeah. And I wrote, hey, we appreciate you, Lonnie. We especially appreciate the carefully crafted casual exposition.
We do. Thank you, Lonnie.
Thank you for making it clear what you're doing and why.
And delivering it so smoothly. Mm-hmm. We appreciate this. Yeah.
And then as the transport drives along, we see a tiny fleck of acid snow land in a particular spot on the truck, eat through the plating, and then through a tiny particular wire. Oh, noes.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah. So out of all of the tiny flecks of acid snow that are eating through everything, just this one.
That one
caused the problem.
Yeah,
so
just that one.
The truck comes crashing to a stop. Lonnie and Rogelio, seatbelted, are fine. Totally fine.
Right.
While Kyle, who is still standing up in the back cargo area, is thrown forward into the glass partition.
Yeah, so folks, wear a seatbelt.
Yes. Yeah, it's hard to feel sorry for Kyle this time because he has been warned so many times to stop fucking around back there.
Yeah, sit down at least.
No seatbelts, just sit your ass down. Don't be standing up and walking around in a moving vehicle.
Yeah, it's very easy. So,
yeah,
I like that Kyle's response to this is, guys, are we home?
Yeah.
Oh, Kyle.
Yeah, yeah.
Womp womp. So, that's a packed teaser.
Yeah, so then a big red light comes on and an audio alarm goes off. Probably the vehicle broke alarm to alert you that the vehicle is broke. Alarm. Because how else would you know?
Right. It's just, we are broken. We are broken. Right.
Like, and Lonnie and Rogelio look at each other. And the look that is the seriously Kyle look, as Kyle says cheerfully, are we home?
Yeah, that's exactly what that alarm is, Kyle. It's the we are home look.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
Buzzing and red lights definitely mean we are home and everything is fine.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
fine.
That little
totally makes sense.
Perfect moment brings us into the credits.
Yep. And that was an incredibly packed teaser.
Yeah, it was a lot of stuff before the credits.
So much. Oh, man. And, so much. And then we have our credits. And then there's more credits. And then more credits. And then the question, once again, of us winning in the end. And I mean, Damn. There are so many things before the credits. I don't even know the answer.
Yeah, so in this instance, I will say that we are going to win in the end if we can survive the apocalypse weather. And if we can survive ourselves as the ones causing the apocalypse weather. If we can stop destroying the planet long enough to win in the end. You know.
We might be screwed.
So if we can survive our own lazy, self-indulgent lifestyles enough to minimize our carbon footprints just a little bit to put the brakes on the climate change, then we have a chance of winning in the end.
So we're screwed.
So we'll see how that goes.
Cool. Well, anyway, let's go back to the Crystal Castle.
Let's go back to our acid snowstorm.
Yeah. Adora trying to open this
using
door.
her sword to pry the door open.
Gayest moment.
Yes.
I also have this as a gayest moment, trying to open the door with her big gay genderqueer sword.
Absolutely.
Like, just stupid door, clunk, clunk, smash.
That is not the sword of protection's intended purpose.
I love that. And she's like, yeah, well, whatever, blur.
Yeah.
You know, like, she's just like, she's really fucking grumpy
it's
about
funny,
this.
but it's also significant for Light Hope because she's showing us her true colors very much, her allegiance to protocol. She wants all things and all people to be used according to their intended purpose.
Well, sure.
I mean,
she's programmed to do so.
Right. So I just think this speaks to the power struggles and relationships that define a lot of the show, and particularly Light Hope, because again, like who decides what the intended purpose of things and people are?
Ooh.
You know, like we've all had bosses and coworkers like this. Nobody likes to be micromanaged and treated like a cog in a machine. You know, like I can decide for myself what my best purpose is. How to manage my time, how to manage my resources.
Sure.
You know, nobody wants a holographic boss popping up over their shoulder every time you decide, like, I could make things more efficient if I do things this way. It's like, well, that is not the intended purpose. Like, fuck off, man. I
definitely don't want that.
Brain.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't want that.
So I just thought that it was an interesting aspect of power dynamics to, you know, the idea of intended purpose. That's a passive voice. Who decides the intended purpose?
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you.
Well, it's whoever programmed Light Hope, right?
But is their authority ultimate? They have authority over Light Hope. Do they have authority over the whole world and every single person Light Hope might ever come into contact with?
Well, sure, but I mean, that's the whole conversation about like Light Hope and who programmed them in the first ones, and you know, like, and then so that makes a lot of sense. And then when we go to, you know, and then the conversation between who has power over the Powerhouse Polycule, you know, yes, of course, Catra, you know, ostensibly does, but you know, also their loyalties and their friendship are the ultimate, you know, the ultimate power over their choices.
That's right.
So, yeah.
That's right.
So,
and in this case, Adora says if Light Hope isn't going to answer questions, then she's going to leave. Go Adora.
But also she can't.
But yes, she can't leave because the whole place is automated. And also, more to the point, Light Hope says her sensors have detected a fluke spore cloud blooming in the Whispering Woods, and it's not safe outside. So the acid snow is actually a fluke spore cloud. Okay. So, Meth.
Yes.
I don't know if you know what spores are. In a basic way. I did a little mini Professor Smartbrain moment on spores.
Let's do it.
If you'll permit me.
Please.
So I am not any type of sciencey person. I'm a humanities major, you know, so I just wanted to do a real basic kind of understanding about like, what are spores? Because of course I've heard of them, but I was like, in this context, I was like, what are we talking about here? And so when I Googled spore cloud, the only thing that came up was like RPG related moves, like Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering. like, oh, you've entered a spore
Sure.
cloud and this is your move now. So when I tried to look into like actual science, I had to put aside the cloud part and just like, okay, well, let's talk about actual spores. What are spores? So in a real basic way, this is an oversimplification. Spores are to fungi what pollen are to plants. A spore is a biological unit of reproduction, which can be sexual or asexual, depending on the type of organism. Can be fungi, plants, algae, protozoa, or bacteria. And only bacterial spores are not part of the reproductive cycle. And actually, so this is also part of the understanding. The term spore derives from the ancient Greek word spora, meaning seed or sowing. So how are they dispersed? Are spore clouds a real thing? I couldn't find anything about spore clouds that wasn't fantasy game based.
Right.
But I also remembered, if anyone has have you seen Carmilla, the web series?
No, but you've recommended it to me a couple of times.
So there are fantasy spores in Carmilla, a spore cloud that gets loose and turns the campus into crazy zombies that try to kill each other. So it's definitely a popular fantasy trope. But real world spore dispersal works in a variety of ways. And I'm going to post a couple of fun videos, short videos in the show notes to show some fun ways. But in fungi, both sexual and asexual spores of many fungal species are activated by forcible ejection from their reproductive structures in a variety of ways, like puffballs. If you just Google puffball fungi shoot out spores, you'll see some hilarious videos. Like, you just poke it and this little cloud of what looks like dust or pollen just poofs out. Some also rely on insects, just like flowers. There is a great stinkhorn fungus. I'm going to post a link to one of those videos that shows how those disperse. But there are definitely no acid spores in real life, obviously. Cloud-based or otherwise. But it's it seems to be a pretty popular fantasy trope to talk about spore clouds either acting as an intelligent little mass blob or making people, the type of fungi that make ants do their bidding, taking you over, having parasitic qualities. That's a fun fantasy trope. So,
well, the type of ants that actually takes over cordyceps ants,
right? Like from
that's
The Last
actually
of Us.
real, though.
Yeah, but no.
Those are real, though.
But but not in a way that could affect people. That's the fantasy trope. That it's going to turn you into zombies, like in The Last of Us.
No, that is not real.
Cordyceps only affects ants, not people.
Not people.
So I'm going to put a couple of fun little videos in the show notes that show a couple of really crazy fungal spore dispersals that will blow your mind. So that is what Light Hope tells Adora. Not safe for you to leave. Acid spore cloud outside. Acid snow. And Adora is very salty about this.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, that's convenient. You want me to stay so you can not answer more of my questions? And then what happens?
and then Light Hope just starts to glitch out. Just Adora.
Everything.
And then the lights go out.
Yep.
And did they make sure that they got bread and eggs and milk before this acid storm?
I don't think they had any storm warning.
I don't think they had any storm warning. I don't think they had the French toast warning.
Anyway, Light Hope disappears and reappears. It's emergency reboot Light Hope. And she would love to help. But the information as to what is going on has not yet loaded.
And she's nice.
She's nice. And they stare at each other in awkward silence for a moment as Reboot Light Hope asks, "Who are you?"
Aww,
with this hilariously awkward expression, which just seems like way too human to go along with this whole like stripped down basic OS thing that they're trying to represent. There's some contradictory things happening here, but it's super fun. You kind of just have to go with it.
Well, I mean, maybe we've seen Light Hope be rebooted before, but this is a different kind because this is maybe Light Hope's, other personality matrices were fried out by the acid storm thing. during reboot too. Like maybe like some of the mean part was, I don't know. I'm suspending disbelief here as well.
It's very unclear. And it's hard to get into Light Hope's personhood as a hologram.
Right.
When it's like, well, someone created her, but then someone reprogrammed her, and the reprogrammed version isn't the real version, but the real version is good, and the reprogrammed version is bad. But which one is real? Like, it's all programmed. Does she really have consciousness? Does she, like, not? I don't know. I really don't know. These are all things that we can chew on and not necessarily have a definitive answer.
But we do get nice hope.
Yes.
For a while.
Yes. And Adora is definitely into this because this is an opportunity for her. Mm-hmm. So she is fine dealing with reboot, basic OS, Light Hope.
Yeah, nice hope.
Yes. Yes. So we leave them. Do you want to call her Nice Hope for the rest of the episode? I'm
going to call her Nice Hope when we have Nice Hope. Yeah. Yeah.
So we leave them there. And then since there's so many scenes, since most of the episode is the Powerhouse Polycule back and forth, for my location notes, to shorten it, I've shortened it to Meanwhile with the Pow Pal.
Oh, that's much better than the PP, so I appreciate you doing Pow Pal.
Yes, that is
I
better.
did not put PP. I just would make Meanwhile back with our friend.
Yes.
So, Pow Pal, great.
Yes. So meanwhile, back with our buds in the woods, our buddies have exited the vehicle to assess the damage and attempt repairs, and somehow they have not noticed yet that they're being fried by acid snow. It doesn't hit them right away. It's just like a light sprinkling.
Yeah, maybe it's like when it's like misting out, like it's a little like schwitzy out. When it's like raining, it's like, oh, it's not really raining, but it starts to like kind of gather on your skin,
I feel like they would still feel it, but again, I'm willing to suspend the disbelief.
Sure, let's suspend
Kyle is being adorable.
I know. Kyle's great in this episode.
Yes, this is a great episode for Kyle. One of the best.
Siren. We love Kyle.
Yes.
If you're listening.
Yes, have it noted for the record, Siren.
We love Kyle.
Especially here.
Especially in this episode.
He is bravely trying to defend the others from a tree that totally attacked first.
Yeah. Totally attacked first.
And Lonnie makes another pointed comment about how Catra obviously felt it was worth risking their safety to get this shit back faster by going through the Whispering Woods.
Yeah, which, true.
Yeah, it's, Catra doesn't value their lives, their health, their safety as much as she values getting what she wants as quickly as possible.
Right, and these are, these aren't disposable soldiers.
Right, this is her cohort.
Yes, exactly. These are people she grew up with.
This is as close to her sibling group as anything could ever be.
Right. And they're still disposable to her.
Yeah.
And Lonnie talks about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
But you can tell Lonnie is pissed.
Yeah. Yes, very much. Very, very much. And at this point, this is when Kyle, who is still having some whimsical vacation feelings, catches a snowflake on his tongue and realizes that this snow is angry.
I know. He does one of my favorite tropes, which is like, and then running around with his tongue out of it.
Yeah. Right. And so, of course, the second it's like he broke the seal on the angry acid snow. The second one piece hit, all of a sudden now they're all feeling it. And they're all like, whoa, whoa, oh my God.
This hurts. Why didn't you say anything?
Right,
and it's
right. So they all start to feel it. And they all run back inside quickly and slam the doors.
Mm-hmm.
And is this the first time we've heard Rogelio speak in his language? I can't remember.
No, it's
We've heard him speak before.
We've heard, this is the most we hear him speak.
Yes, for sure.
And this is the most we see them understand and kind of understand, because we get to the end of the episode and we realize that some of the time they actually only pick up on context and not necessarily on
only at the end there does it seem like they didn't understand, because this whole time it seems like they do understand. Rogelio says something and gesticulates, and Lonnie replies, "I know, dude, one of us has to go back outside and fix the transport."
I love this line when Kyle's like, "Outside hurts."
Yes.
And I love that.
He is correct.
Like, yeah, that makes sense. Outside does hurt.
Yes. That's well put, Kyle. And so Lonnie says, "And we'll just have to stay in here and wait out whatever is happening." And then, and then so Kyle has a great line where like he starts out seeming to be in one emotional space, and then by the end of it, you realize he's in a totally different emotional space. It's like, what? We'll be trapped in here, maybe for hours or days, with only each other for company, and we won't be able to get back to the fright zone? And then sudden total shift with literal stars in his eyes. This is great. And he's so happy.
He's got a point. The fright zone sucks.
Of course he does.
Yeah.
This is a snow day.
Yeah. It's literally a snow day. Yeah.
Two favorite people in a small space, away from everyone mean who yells at them.
Right.
And all they can do is hang out with each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe have great poly sex. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows what they're going to do? It's none of our business.
Who knows? It's none of our business.
What happens between the scene breaks?
We love them. We want them to be happy. But you know who doesn't want them to be happy?
Catra,
because she just shows up on the giant screen. With of course, the ironic smash cut. We don't have to worry about Catra showing up, and Catra shows up of course, on the giant screen behind them. Yeah. You were supposed to be back an hour ago.
Yes. And Kyle just pops up from behind Rogelio's shoulder and says, "The woods are attacking us with very painful snow." Again, adorable.
Adorable. And this is such a cruel thing to say. Like, everyone kind of like rags on Kyle, and they can be mean, but this is cruel. When Catra says, "Why is he talking?" Like, there is real cruelty in that type of statement, because not only is she completely depersonalizing him by being like, it's, why is he talking, but won't even acknowledge that he is existing in the same space. Like, there is a definite shift in how she is referring to Kyle here. Because, mostly everyone just kind of makes fun of him, but they're making fun of him as a person. Like, seriously, Kyle, you're such a dork, Kyle. This is such a Kyle move. But this is her completely depersonalizing, being like
to him when they say those things.
And this is her being like, that thing. What is that thing? Why is that thing talking? And it's I don't know if I agree that she's making him a thing, but she won't address him. She won't give him the respect to even address him directly. He's not worth talking to directly. He's not worth talking to.
He's not worth the energy of her even talking to. She's not. She's not depersonalizing him in taking away his personhood as making him a thing, but she is like taking away any sort of respect. Yes.
Any respect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all she cares about is that the plan can't fall behind schedule. Hordak needs that armor now. And she doesn't care about the consequences, the human consequences to her people.
The human consequences to people that she grew up with.
Right. And
that she knows.
Exactly. They're all interchangeable to her. They're like a little chain of little paper people that you cut out. They're all the same to her. And Lonnie, like Scorpia in the past, suggests that if Catra could possibly be like telling them what the plan was, they might be able to be more helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Catra, again, is just like as rude and dismissive as she could possibly be. She says, I doubt that, seeing as you failed to do the one thing I asked. And like, Lonnie is not the kind of person to just take this kind of crap lying down and just let people shit on her.
No.
She's pissed.
She's totally pissed. And also, like, she doesn't see Catra as someone that she needs to like take orders from in that kind of way.
She's taking it personally. This is basically her sibling, who she has grown up with as a peer and an equal, suddenly having been promoted, fine, but now treating her, you know, like scum, as if they don't have a pre-existing relationship that has lasted their entire lives.
Exactly. Like, there's one thing when, like, your friend becomes your boss. There's another thing when your friend becomes your boss and pretends that you guys never knew each other. And that is totally what is happening with Catra right now.
Yes. And, you know, so Lonnie's like, hey, it's not our fault. The transport broke down and it's too dangerous to go outside.
Right. Like, and like, it makes sense. They can wait it out.
Yeah. It's like, okay, we're going to have to wait it out a couple hours. And, you know, when conditions are safe again, we will resume.
Right, and then you can get your damn armor.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's when Catra starts to really come unhinged. And, like, we see it. She yells, like, she really yells at them. She's losing her composure. Her hair is falling in her face as she screams, I don't care. I gave you an order. Pick someone, send them outside, and fix it now.
Yeah.
And then she takes a breath and she like puts her hair back, like she's taking her composure. It's like she's putting the mask back on, basically. Yeah. She says, understand. And then there's like this loaded pause while she and Lonnie just stare at each other. Yeah. 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 This is not. Yeah. This is so loaded because it's like, this is not the work of a competent, like, Catra's a phenomenal, like, leader, but this is not the work of a competent boss. This is not a good leadership style. This is not a good leadership. She knows how to be a good leader. This is not being a good leader. Yeah, this is being an unhinged person. This is basically, you know, like a fight for dominance now between her and Lonnie. It's like Lonnie doesn't need to be in charge. Lonnie just wants to be treated with respect. Right. And Catra is basically like, you're my peon now. The fuck if I'm going to treat you with respect. I'm going to now turn around and treat you the way I've been treated all my life because that's the pattern I'm acting out. And basically Lonnie looks over at her guys as she and Catra are facing off and realizes that if she doesn't give in to Catra, her answer is going to affect all of them. And she has to do what she has to do to keep all of them safe. Right. Because she's like she is the leader of them. Right. And so we see what like a good leader, versus like an unhinged leader looks like. Someone who cares for the group and is looking out for the group. Yes. And she epitomizes like what a leader and loyalty and so we have leader, loyalty and bravery are kind of what our like Powerhouse Polycule kind of embodies in this episode. So finally, Lonnie, with this face like she's swallowing vomit, she says, yes, Force Captain Catra. Yes. But then the second the screen goes off, she's like, ah! I know. Which is so relatable. We've all had that moment where you just have to, swallow it. And I think this is the scene where she actually takes like a proper soldier stance and puts her arms behind her hand. There's a scene where she does a proper soldier stance and actually like answers in that like, yes, Force Captain. I don't remember, but that could easily be. To like just really kind of enforce it to get Catra out. Right. So to just get her out when of their Catra faces. Leave. Yeah. So when Catra leaves, she just fucking loses it. Because she has to. Like, because she has to. She knows that she has to play. She has to play this particular game in order to get Catra to go away. To keep her team safe. Yes. Yeah. It sucks. So, and then again, breaking the tension, reliably Kyle. Mm-hmm. As soon as Lonnie has vented her aggression, Kyle cheerfully pops up again from behind Rogelio's shoulder and taps his nose, saying, "Not it." I know. Meth, do you recognize the nose tapping, "not it" gesture? I've definitely done that before. Yeah. That reminds me of summer camp. Yeah, definitely. That was the thing we would do at every meal. We would just silently, one person would start to do it, but you don't say anything. And then and then whoever noticed, like as you notice, you also do it. And then you also the last person to notice who has not done it has to clean up after lunch or whatever. Yep. Yeah. I always hated that because I was always, I was like kind of spaced out a bunch of the time. Of course. Like, oh man. This does not favor the ADD crowd. Yeah.
No,
it would
really
be a lot more
doesn't.
fair to just do it on a rotation.
Yeah,
But,
I know. But
not all things are decided that way, as we will see.
yeah, I mean, that's fine.
There are more fun ways that things can be decided sometimes.
It's true. And as we also see later, incredibly arbitrary ways.
Yes, indeed. But before we get to that, let's go back to the Crystal Castle and see what's going on with Nice Hope.
Nice Hope. Oh my God. So Nice Hope's operating system is attempting to reload. And this reminds me so much about that. This reminds me so much of Janet from The Good Place. That I would love to kind of chat about that just for a second. If that's okay.
Has Janet ever needed to reload?
Yes. Okay. So there was an episode in the first season of The Good Place where the main character, Eleanor, actually reboots Janet.
I don't remember that because I've only seen it once.
Yeah, I've watched it so many times.
All right.
It was one of my comfort shows.
Expound, please.
So she reboots Janet by going to this beautiful beach and by the way, Janet is played by Darcy Carden, who is Greta. Incredible.
She's Greta in the new League of Their Own series.
In the gay baseball show.
Yes.
And is an incredible actor and is just also super hot.
Yeah, she's great.
So Eleanor goes to the beach and there's this big red button that, Janet follows her and is like, if you touch that, it will kill me. You can reboot it, but just remember everything I say. And she goes through this whole thing where she's smiling and saying, you can reboot me, but I'm going to try everything to make you stop me. And it's very funny. But anyway, Eleanor, smashes it and you just hear, attention, I have been murdered. And as Janet is being reboot. Okay, so, it's very, very funny. But the part that I'm getting to is when Janet is rebooting. And by the way, Janet, if you haven't seen the show, Janet is the omniscient, sentient, reality kind of OS guide, just like Light Hope. When she is rebooting, she keeps screwing up basic things. So, there's a part where, Michael, who's kind of the architect of The Good Place, keeps asking Janet for files, and instead of being like, yes, I can get you a file, she just keeps handing him cactuses.
That's perfect.
And is like, this is a file, have a cactus.
Yeah.
So it just kind of reminds me of that. And it's like, I have just learned how to do this.
Yes,
have a cactus. Yes. So it's very funny.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a perfect relatable thing. Light Hope has just learned how to move about the castle. Now she's sideways. Now she's upside down. Now she's loaded at 22%.
Yeah, have a cactus.
Yeah, and Glimmer having fun, just poofing around. She's having fun, which we've never seen her do before. And Adora also calls that out. She's like, whoa there, you seem like you're having fun.
Oh, Nice Hope.
And Nice Hope says, my personality profile has not fully loaded. Am I not usually fun?
I love that there's a personality profile.
Yeah.
I love that.
And Adora says, oh no. I've never seen you like this. Which gives Nice Hope, shall we say, another opportunity to remind Adora and us that she doesn't know who Adora is. I have also never seen you like this because I don't know who you are.
I love that.
Which gives Adora the chance to tell Nice Hope that she is She-Ra, which is very exciting news. I've been calling her emergency reboot Light Hope, but Nice Hope is nicer and shorter. So this is very exciting news for Nice Hope, because she knows who that is. She does not know a lot, but she knows who She-Ra is.
But she knows who She-Ra is.
That's the person I'm supposed to help. It's my primary purpose.
I love this.
And she's ready to assist. I love this. But she's only 22% ready to assist because she's only loaded 22%.
Aww.
So, whatever Adora wants, basically, Light Hope is prepared. Nice Hope.
I really want to talk about kind of the music that we have going. We have the Nice Hope music. That's really fun.
I just wanted to, the point of all of that was to set Adora up to realize that she can ask Nice Hope anything. and Nice Hope is prepared to answer, except that she doesn't have the answers. But she wants the answer.
But she wants the answers,
So Adora's whole, motivation for the rest of this episode is to get the answers out of Nice Hope before she loads enough to remember that she didn't want to answer, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where we just got to.
That's where we just got to. So underscoring this entire scene, we have kind of like this, like the Nice Hope music, which is very different than the music that we usually have when we're in the Crystal Castle. So I just wrote a little bit about the music. So the synth sound here, the actual tone that they use for the synthesizers is much lighter. There's less bass and less sustain in the synthesizer tone. And it has like a bouncier tones, like kind of underpinning it. So we have the synth tone, which is kind of like instead of like a which is more like, because it's more ominous. It's more like there's more gravitas to like when Adora is training, or it's more like dun 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 dun. It's very epic, right? Because it has this like driving beat because she's training. This is very whimsical, and they conjure this by also using kind of bouncier tones in the music as well. So we have these kind of like layered, like bum dum dum dun 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 types of things, so that are kind of layered with like xylophones and vibraphones and bells and chimes and toys pianos and pizzicato strings that are like all kind of layered to have these like, it's very like bum bum. It's all very light,
playful.
Very playful.
Yes.
It's very soft and percussive, and things are just real like wacky. This is a really nice little wacky computer sounds here.
Yeah. That is not something that I picked up unconsciously, but it makes total sense. Yeah.
Because everything is usually way more serious. Yeah. Way more serious here in the Crystal Castle. And
but not when Auntie Nice Hope is around.
Not when Auntie Nice Hope is around.
She just wants to play with gravity.
She just wants to play with gravity.
Yeah, my last bullet for this scene is this is the closest we'll ever get to drunk Light Hope.
Oh my God, you're right. Aww.
Imagine if we could get drunk Adora and this version of Light Hope together. They would have so much fun together.
I love that.
Like, drunk Adora would love having the gravity turned off. She'd be like, woo! Let's, play a game on the ceiling! Yeah!
Woo! I love this.
So we will leave almost drunk Light Hope and Adora bouncing on the ceiling for now. Go back to the Powpal.
The Powpal.
They now have to decide who should go out into the acid snow to fix the truck.
Yeah.
And Lonnie thinks they should decide fair and square with a game of Bot Shield Laser, which is their version of rock, paper, scissors, and it's adorable.
It's adorable. And I think that we should decide everything with a... Okay, maybe not. Never mind. That's actually a very bad idea.
Rock, paper, scissors is that it really only works with two people.
With two people.
It does not work with three people.
I feel like they should have probably figured this out their entire life.
I mean, if they had, we would not get this adorable moment of Bot, Shield, Laser. But you beat my bot, but I beat your shield, but you beat my laser. So we all win?
Right. Or they all lose.
Yeah, I mean, this is the perfect example. From Kyle's point of view, they all win.
Right.
From Lonnie's point of view, they all lose.
I love
They're
this.
both equally true. And it was a very adorable graphic. We got to have that little moment.
I love it. It's so cute. But we have we kind of jump between Bot Shield Laser and Light Hope learning how to do things like fixing gravity and making spiders. Yep.
Unfortunately,
I'm glad that she learned how to make spiders.
She's only figured out how to make the spiders. She has not yet figured out how to unmake the spiders. So here's some more training for you, Adora.
Yep. More spiders.
Yeah, this is pretty real. Is this real enough for you, this training?
Yeah. Fixing Light Hope is making your training a lot more difficult.
Yes.
Also, I love when Adora turns into She-Ra. Nice Hope has like the same face as everybody else does when they first see it. It's really fun.
Nice Hope enjoys the transformation so much more.
Yeah. It's like, oh, Nice Hope has a sense of wonder.
Yes, she
I
does.
love this.
She certainly does.
I love AI with a sense of wonder.
Indeed.
Oh, and so we're bouncing
back. We're back to Bot Shield Laser, which does not work as a 3-person game.
Really doesn't.
Kyle says they're all winners. And I wrote, oh, Kyle, you're too good for the Horde.
I know.
Lonnie says they did a new game. And
that's true.
Kyle, in the only time he's ever done anything insensitive, he steals the ball from Rogelio's little ball cup string game, which makes Rogelio sad.
I know.
But, they gotta further this process somehow. They gotta keep the ball rolling, as you say. So they're still working on their game, their decision-making game. We leave them with that. Back to the Crystal Castle, where Shira is busily destroying robots. She says it would be really good if Light Hope's system could finish rebooting now.
I like that. Nice Hope is like, I agree, but I am broken.
Yes.
Attention, I have been murdered.
Yeah. Unfortunately, her reboot is stuck at 36%, and they have to manually override it to finish bringing her program online. And I love how Shira continues to comically have this conversation with Light Hope while fighting. So it's like she's not quite fighting for her life, but she's fighting super hard against a small army of giant robot spiders while she's having this frustrating conversation with her AI mentor. It's like, all right, well, how do we do that? Light Hope's like, oh, no worries, Boo. You just have to take this data crystal. Oh, look, I made a crystal and connect it to the core processing unit.
It's on the other side of those spiders, BT dub, right?
And more really good comedic timing where Adora's like, okay, well, where's the CPU? And please don't say ... It is on the other side of these spiders. But-bum. But don't worry, I will assist you. And immediately makes exponentially more spiders.
Yep. Oops. I'm sorry. I made more cactuses. Just keeps like janiting more cactuses.
Exactly. It's perfect analogy. And then she immediately has another great idea. It's like, oops, I made more spiders. Oh, I have another good idea. I'll just flood the room because spiders can't swim, but they can drag you down with them.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Unfortunately.
Well, let's see.
So this is almost more help than Adora can stand.
Well, okay, so wait. All right, so Bitsy spider up the water spout. Okay, so that makes sense because then down came the rain and washed the spiders out. So there we go.
These are
so
not
there we go.
aquatic spiders.
These are not, but they're still gonna mess you up. So Adora is getting her training though.
She is. This is rigorous.
She's getting in her steps.
Yes. Yes. So while Adora is being washed away with the spiders, we again jump back to the woods and we learn Kyle's new game.
Kyle's Horde Ball. Whatever the hell Horde Ball is.
I mean, it's
Kyle's
whatever Kyle decides it is at any given moment, basically.
I kind of love Kyle's arbitrary game here.
Yeah, I mean, at first it seems very impressive because like Buffy before him, he bounces this ball off of every possible surface and it eventually goes into the helmet, which seems like a pretty sick shot.
Yeah, it does.
But Lonnie and Rogelio are pissed because the rules do not seem to apply equally to everyone. And Lonnie points out that Rogelio got like -5 points when he made like a similar equally good shot just a minute ago. And Kyle now is totally full of shit. He's like, yes, because he forgot the magic password and he's standing in the loser zone. And Lonnie, you're not wearing the hat, so that's another 5-point deduction for you.
I like that there's a loser zone.
Yeah.
It's like, how you're standing in the loser zone. Like, yes, oops, I'm going to stand in the loser zone and do my, and try to win this game.
Yeah.
Job.
So obviously, he's just making up the rules as he goes.
But they're still going along with his dumbass game.
Yep. And then somehow Kyle gets another turn, even though it was just his turn. He gets 2 turns in a row. And he knocks himself out. But he still says, I get all the points and I win.
And Lonnie does put on the hat.
She does. See, they
she
do
puts
listen
on
to
the
him.
hat.
They do listen to
Yeah.
him from time to time. So they start to argue again because it's like, no. You know, this game is too arbitrary. It's not going to fly. So as they're arguing again, the transport begins to creak ominously.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys better stop fucking around and do something.
I really do think that somebody should go outside where it hurts you and maybe try to fix it.
Yeah. You gotta pick somebody already. Just draw straws, guys.
Just draw straws.
Maybe they don't have any straws
Yeah.
from which to draw.
From which to draw. Well, I think we'll figure out later. You know,
Yes.
somebody's got to do it.
Eventually, somebody's gotta. So, back to the Crystal Castle, where there is no longer a flood of spiders.
Yep. No, but, you know, no flood of spiders.
We've got Adora waking up on the floor. She is now no longer She-Ra. She got de-She-Ra'd when she almost drowned, I guess.
But, I mean, there we go. There's one thing that's going to de-She-Ra you, and that's almost killing you with the ocean.
Yeah, I mean, that's totally reasonable. And Nice Hope cheerfully apologizes, saying she didn't know the humans can't swim. However,
Right,
you
and
will
that's
know
fair.
that I did get rid of the spiders.
And Adora can swim. Of course. Why would you even say that Adora can't swim? She can totally swim. She can swim. She just can't breathe underwater.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's fair.
yes. And Nice Hope, finds all this new
Nice
data very
Hope.
interesting. She's kind of like a low-key Entrapta at this point. She's just excited about new data.
Yep.
And it's kind of hard to describe now what the interior setting of the Crystal Castle is looking like. It's like the walls have kind of disappeared. It's like outer space, and there's just big chunky crystals floating around. Like Adora bumps into one when she stands up.
Yeah.
So Adora crawls through all of these random crystal formations. We're still inside a random holographic interior of the Crystal Castle. She follows Light Hope on their way to the CPU, and we see an area above that got eaten through by the acid storm, and a chunk of the ceiling almost falls on her.
Yeah, that's not
Light
good.
Hope says the spore storm outside has worsened, and it is compromising the Crystal Castle. And it's visually dramatic. Like, when bits of ceiling crash to the floor, those solid pieces just disappear, and what's left looks like more void, like outer space. So the urgency is increasing.
Yeah, when all of a sudden the void starts to, like, swallow you, that usually means that, you know, shit's starting to get real.
Yeah, it's not a good sign.
Not a good sign. No.
So finally, they reach the end of this little techie path. And of course, there are two identical slots that could receive the data crystal. What are the odds, Math?
Well, the odds are about 36%.
Oh my god, I walked into that one.
You really did.
Oh my gosh.
That it's going to be either the left or the right. But Nice Hope isn't really sure. She's like 36% sure that it's the left.
Well, she confidently tells Adora to stick it in the left slot. And then Adora gives her like super side eye and says, "Are you sure?" And
yes, she's confidently sure.
Says yes, she's sure. But then she amends it to say, "Of course, my system is only at 36%. So I suppose I am 36% sure." But she's cheerful about it.
Yes. And I love this exchange where Adora says, you know, sarcastically says, "perfect." And Light Hope says, "It is far from perfect."
Yep.
And there's the whole trying to explain sarcasm to AI.
Yep.
And
oh, trust me, that information is never going to load for you.
And I have had these types of arguments with, like, nuanced arguments with AI before. I have been, like, arguing with I'm old and grumpy about AI because I do these like 20 questions with AI, and I'm like, well, is it this one thing that it could be a nuanced answer? And it's like, no, it's not. And then when I like get the answer for it, I'm like, oh, I actually asked that question and it could have been a yes. So I hate it. I hate it.
I guess I'm old enough to not have ever bothered fucking around with AI like that. So I have been spared this indignity. Anyway, Adora puts the schlong in the wrong slot.
She puts the slong in the wrong schlong.
Yes. And then everything disappears for a sec, and Adora is in this flat field of plain blue, and it reminds me of like Daffy Duck in the cartoon where he's talking directly to the animator, and he's just on a flat field, and he tells the animator what to draw as the cartoon is going. It reminded me of that. But it only lasts for a second.
See, I got blue screen of death vibes too.
Yeah.
Like old school Windows totally eating itself, blue screen of death. So
yeah, that's also accurate. Either way, it's like, welcome to the void. It only lasts for a second. Then everything comes back, including Nice Hope. And Adora's like, hey, did it work? Did it work? And Light Hope says, hello, I am Light Hope. How may I assist you?
This reminds me of the Futurama episode also where they have to reboot Bender, and all he can say is, I am Bender, please insert girder.
I don't know if I saw that one.
Anyway, it's funny.
So that was not the right slot. Adora is frustrated. But the good news is there's only one other possible slot. So we leave her there grumping away.
Yep. And
back to the woods we go.
To Pow Paul. Not Pee-Pee.
No.
Not Pee-Pee.
Kyle asks if they think anyone will come to save them. And Lonnie says no. Obviously.
Yeah.
We need to save ourselves.
Yep.
As in, we need to pick someone right now to do this. Or once again, Lonnie reminds them, or Catra's gonna kill us.
Right.
So she's balancing the immediate fear of death by acid snow with the delayed fear of death by Catra. So either way, they're stuck between death and death. Immediate death or delayed death. Which
death by snow versus death by Catra.
Which death do you prefer?
Which death do you prefer? Cake or death? Yeah.
So Lonnie has a really good line here. She's rooting around in the cabinets for supplies. She's getting really frustrated and freaked out. Obviously, even though they never say it, well, they do get into a little bit at the end. She feels responsible for them. She says, I don't know why we even bother. She doesn't trust us. She's obsessed with this big plan. It's the only thing that matters to her. And do you want to say what Kyle says?
Yeah. Kyle says, don't say that. Look, she may be mean, but we've always had each other's backs ever since we were kids.
She probably sent us on this mission for like team building.
Yeah.
And then Rogelio just grunts skeptically.
Yeah. And then Kyle says, you guys are the only family I've ever had, even Catra. And then he brings up the fake memory.
He reminds them of the cake that Catra made using his ration bars for Adora in the fake portal reality. And like, okay, so now we know everybody remembers the fake portal and
reality.
Says that never happened, which is an interesting question.
Yeah.
Like, and I wanted to ask you how you feel about the slippery nature of that other reality. Because if they all have shared memories of it, if they were all there together, did it happen or did it not happen?
I mean, I just kind of took this as, hooray, TV show. Because the way I started thinking about it, and then I was like, okay. Everyone remembers that something happened, but for all intents and purposes, they know that this wasn't real, right? Like it happened, but only in a way that, like, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's a thought experiment, obviously.
It's a thought experiment. Also, this is kind of like a wink nod. Like, I also feel like this is just kind of like a lampshade hang, like a meta joke. Like,
it is.
We all knew it was a fake reality, right?
It is. I just think you're 100% right, but I also think it's interesting. It's not like, in some alternate reality or time traveling genre stories, once you get back to the quote unquote real world, everyone else except for you, has no memory of the alternate reality. But so they all have shared memories of the alternate reality.
They all have shared memories of the alternate reality.
So during that time, that version of reality was all that there was. They were all there together.
Was their reality.
They all made real choices, and they all have real memories. So is it really accurate to say that it never happened?
Yeah, no, it's not accurate to say that it never happened. In this, but
I mean, it wasn't the real world, but I feel like,
but it wasn't the real.
It was still something that they did.
Yeah,
I feel like if they all have shared memories of it, it's a real memory.
Sure. It's a real memory, but it never happened.
Yes, both are true.
Yes, and I think that's what it is. Like, yeah, okay, it's a real memory, but it's a real memory of a timeline that we all know that, like, actually didn't exist. And it's a real memory of these events that would have been part of a would have, but since that wasn't an actual real would have, it didn't actually happen, even though it happened.
It's a real memory from a fake world.
Yes. That doesn't actually explain, like, a character, right? Like, it was a what if.
Yeah, it's something that Catra did in an alternate version of reality where she felt safe and loved.
Right. And since this is not Catra, she could not have made that choice.
That's true.
And therefore, this is not that Catra.
This is not that Catra. And that is true.
And these are not those people. Yes. And therefore, that never happened because these are not those same people.
They are the same people. It's just under different conditions.
Yes.
It's not like there was a different Catra. They all have those memories.
No. You're right. Yes. Okay. Yes. In a sense, what you are saying is correct. And also, in a sense, what I am saying is correct. Because, like, they're not like... Right. Like, it's not like they're like... It is not a different body.
Right.
But the choices that they have made their paths through the world different, and they are therefore different people in that sense.
But they all have the memories.
But they all have the memories of the paths that they could have taken
I feel like
or been on.
also has that memory, for example.
Right, which is also like
crazy.
Damn, that's which also kind of was probably contributing to why Catra feels extra insane too.
Yeah,
and why everyone is extra pissed at Catra.
Of course.
So that makes sense.
But none of this derails Kyle at all.
Right,
he
and
says
also
we're a unit.
Right. And also, like, for everything Kyle said up until that one part is true.
Yeah.
So, like, Kyle even isn't, like, wrong about that.
Yeah. I mean,
like,
I agree 100%. Everything else he said is correct.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't even get derailed by Lonnie reminding him that never happened. He says, we're a unit. And Lonnie... Finally, I feel like she's just at the end of her rope. She's so fried. Yeah. She laughs like in a mean way, and she just gets right up in his face. And she says, you want to know what we are? We're expendable. Catra doesn't care about us. Adora left us. Everything they taught us in the Horde about loyalty is meaningless. It's everyone for themselves.
Yes. And
then she turns away from him, walks to the corner, and crosses her arms, looking sad and angry and dejected. And it just breaks my heart.
Yeah, I have a couple of observations about this as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to compare this speech to Catra's speech to Adora in the Sword.
Please.
Like, they both Catra and Lonnie are both very socially intelligent.
Yeah.
Like, they are probably the two most socially intelligent people in their cohort. Though we don't know about Rogelio because we actually don't communicate with Rogelio. We don't see any communication with Rogelio. So that might be like an asterisk. But for what we understand, the two of them are the socially intelligent ones that we understand as, like, they kind of see what's going on. And Lonnie does also understand, like, the hierarchy of the Horde as well. Like, always knew that the two of them were together, were like the unit, and that two of them were kind of chosen one-y, right? Like, they were the chosen two, babe, right?
Which
like Catra and Adora. So I just kind of want people to kind of think about comparing Lonnie's speech to Kyle to Catra's speech to Adora in the Sword. So Lonnie also sees through the Horde's facade in that she sees it from the side of the cadet. She was never chosen to be the best, nor was she chosen to be the main target of someone's abuse. They're two sides of the same thing, but they're still very much being chosen as, elevated to something.
Yeah. Singled out
she was
either for better or for worse.
Right. She was trained as a soldier. She was trained as a soldier and as part of a unit, not separate as the unit, either as the one that is chosen to be the force captain or the one that is horribly abused.
Right.
She was just trained to be part of the unit, be a soldier as part of the Horde. Yeah. And she's always known because she was trained as kind of that soldier, as kind of just like one of those, like a pawn, essentially, that she was always expendable.
I'm not sure. I agree with the first part of that she always saw herself as part of the unit, but I'm not sure if I believe that she always saw herself as expendable. I think that up until Adora left and everything started to fall apart, that she did believe in the message that the Horde was feeding them about loyalty to each other, loyalty to the unit, that they would look out for each other and that they would be okay because they would look out for each other, and that she has become very disillusioned over the course of the show as things have fallen apart. Adora left, Catra has authority over them and is abusing it. I don't think that she thought that this is how things would play out when they were younger. I think that when they were younger, that she believed that they would come up as a group, stick together as a group, and take care of each other and be okay. And the more things have fallen apart, she has become disillusioned. And now she is losing faith in the idea that loyalty will get her anywhere.
Yeah, I guess, you know what? I see where you're coming for that. I see where you're coming from that. Because just as Kyle, brings up, when Kyle talks about, the reality that never happened, we also see kind of what Lonnie is like from the reality that never happened. Which is also that Adora never left. And Lonnie does have that we're a unit type of understanding. So you're right. You're totally right there. But once Adora did leave, because Adora leaving also impacted them as well. And it wasn't just impacting them in terms of Catra being a dick to everybody. Like, Adora was their friend too.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are several episodes when we see Adora come back to the Fright Zone for the purpose of saving her rebel buddies. And she crosses paths with Lonnie, Kyle, and Rogelio sort of at random. And Lonnie says things like, "You think you can just come back here and attack us? Like, we were your friends."
Yeah.
In a way that you can tell she's hurt. She's wounded. She's like, "What the fuck, man? I never did anything to you."
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
you're right.
she doesn't have as immediate of a stake in that betrayal as Catra does, obviously. But she still
it's not her ex-girlfriend.
Right. But she still feels it. This is like, her adopted sister, basically, who just abandoned them for no reason from her point of view.
Yeah. Yeah.
In terms of their relationship.
That makes sense.
As a little cadet unit.
Yeah. No, that makes more sense. You're right.
So I can see her feeling hurt and betrayed on a lower level than Catra.
Yeah, I think the only thing that kind of like would lead me to go to like the expendable thing isn't necessarily the like, she just knew that she was not like chosen to be the like big main leader person.
Yes, I think she probably
I think that might be where...
Yeah, I think you're right
she's
about
more
that.
of a soldier.
Yeah, I think that you're right in the sense that she always knew that she wasn't important to the leadership. But I think that she always used to think when they were younger that she was important to her friends, that they were all equally important to each other. Not that she was,
and they were,
not that she was more important than anyone else in the unit, but that they were all equally important to each other and that they would all have each other's backs.
Right. And they would essentially be like their own unit. Even if Adora was the leader of the unit, they would still be the unit.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And that the breakdown of that, it's what's sort of leeching her faith away.
Yeah, and now she knows, and now she's like, well, we're expendable to everybody,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Not just leadership.
Yes, exactly.
And now it's everybody for ourselves.
Exactly.
Cool. So now we're on the same page.
Yes, and so she's finally taking out on Kyle. Kyle is the one person who they've always tried to protect, and now she's like, you know what? Fuck this. Even, like, they give Kyle a hard time and they, tease him, but ultimately they've always tried to protect him from the more brutal aspects of the Horde because, he's a lover, not a fighter, as we say.
He is. He is.
Finally, now she's had enough and she's like, fuck this. And so it's Kyle's turn. He's had his moment.
Yeah.
Kyle has finally had enough of everyone else being shitty.
Yep.
And he says, since nothing matters, he'll just go do it himself so he doesn't have to be stuck in here anymore with his non-friends.
Right, which of course he's not doing it because of that, right? He's doing it because this is his bravery. And it's not his bravery is like, I'm going to do it because, I'm going to prove something. He's doing it because of his love and his open-heartedness. He's like,
even if you guys, don't love me, I still love you.
I still love you. And it comes from love.
Stop loving you, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Kyle's a hero because of love.
Yes.
And that is that is who becomes a hero in this show. It's the people that are driven by love and loyalty.
Exactly.
And Kyle's a hero.
And Rogelio tries to stop him. He blocks the door, but Kyle is not fucking around and he just pushes past him.
I know. Good job, Kyle.
Yeah. And Lonnie says, oh, knock it off, Kyle. And Kyle has the best retort ever. He says, you knock it off, Kyle. Which I just feel like makes sense on a gut level, even though Lonnie's like, that doesn't make sense. I'm like, yeah, it does. It makes sense.
It's Kyle. Yeah. Also, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, yeah, I'm a Kyle. Fuck you. You're a Kyle. I'm not you're the Kyle. I'm not the Kyle now.
Yeah. And so then Lonnie and Rogelio start bickering. And Lonnie says to Rogelio, will you help me out here? And I kind of feel like it's like they're the couple and Kyle is their kid who's just announced that he's going off to join the army and go to war. And now they're fighting over whose fault it is.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of thing. And Rogelio's side of the argument is just reptilian roaring, but it's still like they're having a conversation.
Yeah,
and so while they're bickering, Kyle just puts on the helmet, the one helmet that they have between the three of them.
The one helmet that was the winter circle helmet or whatever the hell.
And he goes out. He's going out to do the thing. Fuck this noise.
Yeah, fuck this. I'm doing this. Oh, Kyle.
We love you, Kyle.
We love you, Kyle. You're our hero. Meanwhile, back at the Crystal Castle.
Yes. The whole place is now rumbling like a slow-mo earthquake because Adora put the schlong in the wrong slot.
The schlong in the wrong schlong.
Yes. And Adora begs Light Hope to say that she is now back to full functionality. And Light Hope says she is. And then the loading crystal graphic pops up over her head at the same low level that it was before, and she cheerfully says, disregard, that was incorrect. Here's another cactus.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And she looks like a sim when she does it too, like one of the from the game The Sims when she has the little thing over her head. Yeah.
And then she says, look, I made a bird. And it's actually a little like crystal beetle, but it's making bird sounds, so close enough.
Yeah. Sure. Maybe that's what birds look like on Eternia.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
And so Adora is pissed, and she finally blows up at Nice Hope.
Yep.
Do you want to say what Adora says?
Yeah, she's like, of course it was a wrong slot. I don't know what I expected. Even when you do know everything, you don't tell me anything. You're useless. And Nice Hope,
and she points her finger right into Nice Hope's face, very accusingly, when she says, you are useless.
She's pissed. And like, Nice Hope's feelings are hurt.
Yeah. And Adora immediately is horrified with herself. Like the second the words are out of her mouth, you can see that she feels guilty.
Well, she doesn't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
Yeah. She doesn't like to get mad at people.
Yeah.
And we see what could possibly be interpreted as emotion passing across Nice Hope's face. Like, it's not strong. It's right. Like she briefly looks away. Like, it's subtle, but we could interpret it as like she feels bad for disappointing Adora.
Yeah.
And she says, I am a hologram. My primary purpose is to train Shira. If I am not doing that, then I have failed. I'm sorry, Adora. And she disappears.
Aww.
So we are
Hope.
assuming that she feels bad. But, we have never seen any evidence that normal Light Hope is capable of emotion.
Of feeling, yeah.
So this version seems to have feelings.
Yeah, and so now we're like, what the fuck?
Which is very confusing. So she disappears, poof, she's gone. And as soon as she's gone, the acid snow starts to break through the roof of the Crystal Castle and starts falling inside.
And then some gay shit happens.
Yeah. Adora hears another voice calling Light Hope's name and starts walking towards it. And who is it, Neff?
And it's Mara. And we're like, what?
Yeah.
What is happening? It's Mara with a fucking bouquet of flowers.
Yep.
And
Adora,
gayest moment. Yeah,
Adora finds Light Hope watching this holographic memory projection of past Light Hope and Mara. And it's in all pink, so you know it's a memory hologram and not a live hologram. Because the memory holograms are all in pink. Because pink is the 80s, and so that's the memories.
Exactly. Oh, I love that. That makes so much sense. And it's also kind of like staticky, like 80s TV.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Mara, as you said, brings Light Hope flowers, and we have this cute back and forth where Mara first is like, smell them, and Light Hope is like, I have no olfactory senses. And Mara's like, well, they're pretty though, right? And Light Hope,
they are aesthetically pleasing.
Light Hope confirms that they are aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah. Aw. Oh, I love this. I thought they might liven the place up. I mean, it's hard being stuck in here all the time. I do not mind. Not when you come to visit me. And I'm going, aw, flowers for your hollow girlfriend. Aw, she likes you.
Yeah.
I'm like being a big dork at the TV,
Nate Stevenson apparently confirmed this in a tweet, but I could not find the tweet. This is from the Shira, the S-Pop wiki, that Mara and Light Hope are canonically in love.
Yes, they are. This is true.
I never would have picked up on that. I did not get that vibe from this scene. I thought that she was just trying to get her to be a little bit more human and, have emotion.
I totally got it from this scene.
I did not get that from this scene at all. And so I tried to find the tweet, and it's not there anymore. But we've had other tweets that have been referenced and confirmed that no longer are there, that have been deleted. So I'm assuming it's just one of those. But yeah, so that surprised me, but I guess it's been confirmed. If it's confirmed by Nate Stevenson, then it's canon.
Right.
That's our definition of canon.
Yeah.
So obviously gayest moment.
Gayest moment. Yeah. And, I think it's confirmed here by, all I have is this one, Adora's like watching this and she's like, oh, right. Like, what is happening? And, Light Hope says, I looked at my loaded data banks to see if I could seek the answers. All I have on Mara is this memory and sensation. Warmth. Her memory brings me warmth. And I was like, oh my God, that's so gay and so sad. That's so gay sad. I had the gay sads.
Yeah. I mean, I believe that, Light Hope could feel affection for Mara.
Yeah, I mean, I just got gay from this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's totally fair if you did not get gay from this. I did not
make the leap to, they're in love.
Yeah, I got
There's
gays from this.
There's levels of intimacy.
So. Sure. No, I also understand that there are levels of intimacy.
Yeah,
I just got gayest gays from this, so...
But so I also, I also picked it as a gayest moment, but I would not have thought that it was that gay if I had not had this outside information presented to me.
Fair.
But while Adora and Nice Hope are gazing upon this memory together, Adora says, you and Mara were close? And Light Hope says, yes, we were. Are we not close? And this is a good opening for them to have this discussion. Adora says, it's just that you keep things from me. I know it's in an everything will make sense in time kind of way, but it's also pretty annoying. And embedded in that statement, Adora is giving Light Hope so much benefit of the doubt. It's like, oh, you know, it's in an everything will make sense in time kind of way. You're assuming that that's the case.
Right.
You're assuming that everyone around you is making their decisions in good faith. And I just want to remind all of our listeners that our what did we learn from our last episode was be careful who you pick as your mentor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this is, you know, something that I have to remember constantly. I often assume that everyone else is like me and makes decisions in good faith and, you know, doesn't wish ill on anyone else. And I sometimes need to be reminded that that's not always the case.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is kind of a running theme through this season as well, is be careful who you pick as a mentor.
Yes.
I mean,
because, you know, what Light Hope says for the rest of the short little end of this conversation will eventually be revealed to be flat out lie. Yes. She says, it is my role to watch over She-Ra. I want to serve She-Ra, to protect her to the best of my abilities. But sometimes those abilities are not enough. Like, oh, cue the fucking violins.
Right, but also, like, maybe that's what Nice Hope thinks.
Maybe that is what Nice Hope thinks. Yes.
Yeah.
And Adora, you know, Adora can relate to that. She says, sometimes I feel that way too. I'm sorry about Mara, and I'm sorry I'm not her. But we could be friends too if you want.
Right, and Nice Hope would like that.
Yes.
Because Nice Hope is capable of having friends.
Yes. And Adora's like, come on, buddy, let's get you fixed.
Yay! Can do lesbians.
Yep. And so they walk away and we get one final beat to look at Mara and past Light Hope with the flowers smiling together.
Aww. Mara.
And my last bullet on that scene is, what a beautiful moment. Too bad it's all built on a fucking lie.
I know.
I mean, you know, you don't know that when you're watching this scene for the first time, but by the end of the episode...
Yeah,
you will start to have some serious misgivings.
You will have some serious misgivings.
Yes.
Yeah. But let's go back to
let's see how
our
Kyle's
pals.
Doing.
Kyle,
Brave
who is
Kyle
not
in the acid snow.
Sir Brave Kyle, who is not built on a lie, but built on open-hearted courage and loyalty and love.
Yes, Kyle the Lion-Hearted.
Kyle the Lion-Hearted. He's out there.
Immediately getting acid burns through his clothes.
His entire ass clothing, his helmet. He's a mess.
Yeah, Lonnie and Rogelio are watching him through the comm screen and talking to him through the comm screen. Lonnie's like, all right, you made your point, Kyle. Now turn around. That's an order. And Kyle just turns off the comms link in his helmet.
It's not about making a point.
Yeah, that's not what he's doing.
Yeah, and I think Lonnie, we're hearing Lonnie say this because Lonnie doesn't think it's about making a point either. Lonnie's just like scared. Yeah. I mean, Lonnie cares. Yeah. So. Yeah.
And my next bullet in all caps is nevertheless he persisted.
Aww.
Kyle is so good and so pure that he might be, if not the only, then one of the only male identified people that I would allow to use that line.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
He is good.
He is good. Kyle is good.
Yes. So he fixes the thing. And the second he fixes the thing, he passes out so dramatically.
Yeah.
He's like,
he
raises his arms to the heavens.
He's covered in chemical burns.
No, he's earned it.
He passes out, earned it.
And then Lonnie and Rogelio see this through the comms panel. They're very upset. Lonnie says they never should have let him go out there alone. That is correct, Lonnie. You should not have.
This is correct, yes.
And so Rogelio opens one of the packages of the armor plating.
But also, like, what would they have done, though?
Yeah, it's like, do they not have any armor of their own? Because usually Horde soldiers have armor.
Have their whole fucking thing, right? Well, I mean...
But in this case, they only had one helmet between the three of them and nothing else. But, you know, it has to be this way. They have to sacrifice some of their precious cargo. Lonnie says Catcher will kill them if it's damaged. But then they look at each other and they know that their love for their little family outweighs their fear of Catra.
Yeah. They don't...
So out they go.
They don't care. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's about loyalty and love.
Yep.
and friendship.
Yep. So out they go. They both start to get a little bit fucked up by this acid. And, it eats through that giant armor shield in like 10 seconds. This is what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah. So, like, why is that so fucking valuable?
Right. Like, there's some mismatch between, like, the severity of the acid versus the materials. You just gotta let it go.
Also, like, the shield has, like, first one's writing on it, right?
I mean, it's supposed to be, this,
like
this armor plating was from, like, a first one's mine or something.
Right. So, and whatever.
We have to let it go.
This is where I'm whatever
like
about.
Metaphysics. It's like
this is total metaphysics.
The rate of the acid eating through things is very selective of how quickly it eats through different things to build the tension at the rate that they want in the instances that they want. You got to just let it go. It's a cartoon.
Yeah, and I would have been like, hey, so Katra, we used this to go get Kyle, and it fucking disintegrated in acid, where our tank didn't. So maybe it's not that great. Anyway.
Yeah, agreed. So Rogelio runs over to try to fix the thing as Lonnie brings Kyle back inside, but he sees it's already done. Unbelievable. Kyle did the thing.
Kyle fixed it.
He fixed it.
Good job, Kyle.
And they all get back inside. Rogelio hits the button. Boom. They're on the move. The day has been saved.
The day has been saved by Kyle, who is
hero of the day.
Covered in acid burns.
Yes, and apparently also has a busted leg.
And it has a busted leg.
Yes.
From acid burn.
I don't know.
Whatever.
It's unclear.
Maybe it's like the thing where it's like you're covered in sexy wounds. Elevate your leg. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hopping back. This is This is a super frog hopping episode. We're just bouncing back and forth.
This is a frog hopper.
Crystal Castle.
It's a hoppy episode.
Woods, Crystal Castle Woods. Crystal Castle Woods. So now we're back again at the Crystal Castle. The acid storm has finally stopped. We get one exterior shot to establish that. And inside, we see Adora and Nice Hope going back to the CPU.
Yep. And we're okay. Show you promise that the other slot is the right one. We got the crystal. Yes. Put it in the slot.
And Light Hope says she is 36% sure that this is the right slot. And Dora's like, Princess Jenny, am 100% sure that there are no other slots. So
yes, and
confidence is high.
I trust both of your math more than mine. So
boom, she pops it in there.
Let's fucking do it. Yep.
And then we get some enchanting ooh music in the background. So then we know it's all good.
We know it's all good. And reboot is complete. And we've lost Nice Hope.
Yep. The Crystal Castle.
We got the furrowed brows again.
Wicked bright and shoots a beam of light straight up into the sky like it's the bat signal or something.
Yep. And
Yes, and then we have, as you say, the furrowed brow of full Light Hope.
Full Light Hope. And Adora's like, what? Okay, Light Hope is like, you are safe to leave. And Adora's like, you don't want to hang out anymore? And of course we get the literalism of, what would we hang from?
Yes.
It's like, okay.
Yes. Definitely back to Light Hope.
Back to Light Hope, talking about balancing the planet. And it was like, okay.
Yep. And Adora is still, trying to hold on to this newfound level of intimacy. Yeah. And she says, I know you're just trying to protect me, but now that we're friends, you can trust me with the truth about everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Light Hope, she's a real one-trick pony at this point. She says, once you balance the planet, all will become clear. That's all she wants to talk about is balancing the planet.
Okay, but she doesn't... Just pausing for a second, right? Like, we don't really find out what balancing the planet means until, later in the series.
Right.
But why doesn't she just say, this is what we had to do to balance the planet. Let's go balance the planet.
I think that...
I mean, I know narrative structure-wise is why,
but... her sense of control comes from controlling the information.
Right. Okay. So she's like, we have to be ready in order to do that, right? Like,
yeah, she just wants Adora to be trained to be at her maximum fitness.
Be at her maximum, like, and then her maximum whim.
Right. And so she has a vague sense that this is the task. But Light Hope doesn't really want her to know too much about the specifics because she doesn't want her to question. Because the more specific details she has, the higher the likelihood that she might question things, maybe?
Right. Yeah. And then, well, when we get to when we get to how the hows and whys and how it starts to get kicked off, I guess we'll kind of get those questions answered a little more in depth.
Yeah. And there are also some things, like it eventually comes out that she assumes Adora remembers everything that happened from when she was a baby because she doesn't know that babies don't remember things.
Yeah, we get that. We get that earlier in the series.
Some things are unclear.
Yeah. But then, then there's the whole conversation. Anyway, we'll get there when we get there.
So, but at this point, Adora is satisfied with this answer. She assumes that Light Hope is acting in good faith. She says we'll get there with a smile, and she walks out.
Aww.
So that is the end of that half of the plot.
I miss Nice Hope.
Yeah. Nice Hope. Nice Hope was nice.
Nice Hope was nice.
Nicer than the other Light Hope, for sure.
Yeah, but,
A lot more whimsical.
Not much more whimsical. The music, much lighter.
Yes. 36% more spiders.
36% more spiders. Less gravity. More cactus.
Yes.
More
All
cactus.
true.
All true.
So back in the transport, Kyle wakes up looking all messed up. There's a burn on his face.
Oh.
But as he wakes up with this POV shot that we're Kyle waking up, Rogelio and Lonnie are standing over him, taking care of him.
Yeah.
Because they love him and they were worried.
Because they love him. Because they all love each other.
Yes, and Lonnie is just finishing up wrapping his leg, and they're all covered in burns because, of course, they went after him. And Kyle sits up and smiles, and he says, "You came for me. You do care."
Aww. And Lonnie was like, tough. No.
Yeah, she turns away because she's never been given the tools to deal with basic emotions. But she's trying.
She's trying.
She says, "We just knew you were going to mess it up like you always do, okay?"
Yeah. No.
And then
Lonnie.
Rogelio gives his big dramatic speech in his lizard language, which we wish we knew what he was saying.
We wish we knew what he was saying.
With much raising of fists. And Kyle
but
I think we can get from the body language he's saying, we're a family and together we are strong, basically, is what I got from that.
Yeah, same. And so this is when we learned that, a lot of they might understand some
of the basics.
Maybe most of Lizard, but, a lot of it is context.
Yeah. Or maybe, they understand the basic stuff, but, the whole multi-sentence speech is beyond them. But, they definitely appreciate the sentiment.
They do.
No question about that.
They all love each other.
They do. And Kyle lays back down with a smile. Lonnie folds up her jacket and puts it under his leg and tells him to keep it elevated until they get home. It's all very cute and we love it. Together they are strong.
Together they are strong and brave.
Yes.
Aww.
So that's almost the end.
Certainly, but of course everything has to be
good stuff that we're going to get.
But of course, because it's this show, everything has to be terrible and sad at the end.
Or scary.
Yeah. So now we hop on back to the Crystal Castle where nothing could possibly be sad or horrible or scary. No,
definitely not.
No. In fact, it starts off nice, though. Right?
We
get to see. Sure. I mean, Mara,
Light
Nice Hope.
Enjoying her favorite memory, recently excavated.
Sure. And it's great. And,
looking at Mara smiling with her flowers.
Yeah. Being in gay holographic AI love with your, all powerful, all, She-Ra girlfriend. Sure.
With her long dead, ex-girlfriend of the past.
Yeah, and, well...
What does she say?
Well... Light Hope says this memory should have been purged per directive of the Heart of Etheria project. Permanently delete.
Yep.
And gone. And Jenny, I don't know if we've ever had an ungayest moment on this show.
We have not.
But this is the ungayest moment so far.
I won't argue with that. Yeah, this is a very sinister moment. This might be the most sinister moment we've had so far.
It is the most sinister moment, but it is also it erases the gay.
Yes, it does.
It is an ungay moment.
That is very well put. It erases the gay.
Yeah.
Literally.
It literally erases the gay. Yeah. It is an ungay moment.
We end the episode with this dramatic close-up on Light Hope's face, looking very sinister in this sharp lighting with ominous music playing behind it.
Horrible.
Just in case you had any uncertainty about whether or not you are supposed to think that she is a good guy or bad guy right now. This is definitely sinister intentions.
Yeah, no, this is bad guy.
Yeah.
This is a bad guy. Oh, why? It's so intense.
So,
why?
That's a terrifying moment to end on.
Terrifying moment. A terrifying ungayest moment to end on.
Yes.
Excellent episode.
Very excellent.
Love this episode. Love our Powerhouse Polycule.
We sure do.
We really do. Jenny?
Yes, Meth.
What did we learn today?
Well, we relearned something we've learned before that bears repeating. Choose your mentors carefully.
Really good lesson.
Who you trust, especially adults, people in authority, people who have more information than you. Choose those people in your life carefully. And another thing that we learned today is don't lose faith in your family, chosen family or otherwise. Whoever you have in your life who you consider family, everybody has bad days. Everybody gets grumpy sometimes. The people who you look out for and who look out for you in your day-to-day life, you need to stick together when times are tough.
I love that.
So that's the flip side of, don't let sinister people into your life too easily. But the people who have proven that they are your family, don't give up on them too easily. Let them have bad days. Hopefully they should let you have bad days. And just keep taking care of each other. And if all else fails, resolve your differences with a nice friendly game of Laser Bot Shield.
Yeah, and I think that's great. At least
wrong.
That one has, because at least it has it has
everyone can be
rules.
A winner.
Everyone can be a winner in Laser Bot Shield.
That's correct. Most important lesson of all.
Most important lesson. Everyone can be a winner in Laser Bot Shield.
That's right.
Well, folks, if you liked what you heard and you want to shelter us from the storm, you can like and follow us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast fix. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at HeyAdoraCast, or you can email us something nice to say about Kyle at heyadoracast@gmail.com. And in case you may have missed this, and the many times that we have said this, we indeed do have a Patreon.
Yes, we do.
Awesome.
Yes.
So if you become a member of our rebellion, you can hang out with us on Discord, which is awesome. You get bonus episodes, which is awesome. You get exclusive playlists, which are awesome. Jenny reads you books and shit, which is awesome. We have live watches. They are awesome. We hang out. It's awesome. Jenny, we do other awesome things, right?
Especially because right now we will soon be having a special bonus ep for Nimona that will be for our patrons only.
We are very excited because Nate Stevenson's first big graphic novel got turned into an animated movie called Nimona, and it's supposed to be awesome because of course it is, and we're gonna watch it.
Yes,
and
it took a long time for this movie to be made. There was a major fiasco where it got basically canceled by the company that was making it, and then no one else could make it because they own the rights, and so for several years it was dead in the water. So the fact that it's finally being made is a big deal.
It was like 75% made.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking.
Yeah. Also, it's gay.
It's super fucking gay.
And super gay. And Yeah.
So that's exciting. So join us
exciting.
on Patreon for all of the things.
It's gonna be awesome.
And Beth, where can people find all of our links for all of our things?
Good question. So you can find links to our Patreon as well as links to this week's Spotify playlist, our Stormy playlist for Protocol, in our show notes or at heyadora.gay.
You can find all the things at heyadora.gay.
At heyadora.gay. We did it. We .gayed it.
Yes, so come on over, friends.
Come on over, friends.
Feel the rainbow.
Feel the rainbow at heyadora.gay. And remember, queer joy is radical.
And queer love saves the universe.
Ow! Stay away from the acid rain.
Powerhouse Polycule.
Powerhouse Polycule.